Well, here's some food for thought. This is my grandfather, Dr. Kurt Saltner. He had 4 PhDs: pharmacology, chemistry, philosophy, and medicine. And his brother, my Uncle Max, worked on the V2 rocket in Germany. There's his wife, Mitza. Um, I forget their names, but my Uncle Max is not pictured here because, unlike my mother's parents, my grandfather here and my grandmother, they, like my Tante Mitza here, were in Germany, and just as my grandmother's brother was conscripted into the German military, he was swept up into the Nazis. And my parents never associated with them except for holidays when we went to visit. And it was primarily visits with my grandmother and grandfather, as you can see here. And then after, mostly just with my grandmother in Germany. But on special occasions and holidays, I got to meet my relatives who were, for lack of a better word, German aristocrats, very well educated, rocket scientists, just like Elon Musk, rocket scientists with unlimited wealth from very wealthy families that were fucking Nazis. And there's a reason why there's not a lot of pictures of my Uncle Max in this house. I was on friendly terms with my Tante Mitza, but I didn't really get to know a lot of these other Germans on purpose, and my mother intentionally didn't want me to learn German. And I got to spend a lot of time in Germany, and I got to read a lot of books about science and have access to a library where a lot of things were removed after the death of my grandfather by his fraternity, so as not to incriminate other Germans that were associated with Herx Pharmaceutical Company. And I know for a fact my grandfather wasn't doing anything bad, and that his brother worked on something that was inherently evil, yet fundamentally crucial to the space technology military-industrial complex as we know it, along with von Braun, who founded the nuclear space rocket program as we know it. And there were a lot of reports about how there could be another element, sort of like an antimatter, that it spins within itself and it's used for propulsion. There's a lot of studies done about ESP. And sadly, the fascists in Germany, under the control of their dictator Hitler, basically, were conning and basically raping the land and people and taking things so as to make the state wealthy. And we don't see what's happening inside the homes of people who are seeing their loved ones ripped out of their houses because their papers aren't being processed. We're not seeing all the money being followed to detention centers and all the quote-unquote bureaucracy being cleansed from the government, which is basically comprised of elected officials who hire people to work for them and to give them money and to just buy that out. Now there's no federal regulations and checks as to where the money is going to be spent. So some kid who likes to play with rockets, these other techie billionaires think it's the best thing for humanity that they tell us what to do and how to live our lives while they get extremely wealthy at the benefit of themselves and the expense of everyone else on this planet. And that's what fascism is. That's what Nazis do, folks. They just want to benefit by the strength of the mighty and the force and violence, the king, the dictator, the roi, the CEO. And it's sick, folks. That's not equality. And our country we're in trouble right now, you know? It's not a joke. You can't have somebody who aspires to be Dr. fucking Evil in our Oval Office, let alone someone with a Confederate flag parading around, and then have someone excuse them. I mean, people literally got conned by somebody from a reality TV show who was on Howard Stern. This is where we are now. And Hitler was very charismatic, and they all wore suits and ties, and they all loved to dress up and go to these events and dinners. And when I worked in Wall Street and I met all these quote unquote respectable businessmen, these billionaires, none of them had anything good to say about how they can help humanity by coming together and healing the world in one way, which would be universal solar energy legislation, universal democracy, and the acceptance of peace and prosperity for human beings to focus, not just making a small amount of people wealthy, but to now focus on medicine and ways for which we can ease pain and suffering and clean our planet and have a sustainable way of life that sees to it that everyone can enjoy the same amount of wealth and abundance on this planet freely. And the way to do that would be to enact universal solar energy legislation, not continually building rockets and bombs and deporting people. The rich, the wealthy need to be rounded up. They need to be rounded up, and they need to be paid more taxes. They need to be paying more taxes so that we can fund these kind of projects with robots in greenhouses that can grow food and medicine, and people don't have to worry about food and shelter and how they're going to make enough money to survive now, because they can have a robot provide boundless free electricity, clean water, energy, and grow your food in a greenhouse. It would fundamentally alter the way we're doing things all the wrong way. We're making all these roads running up and down and shipping things all over the place. And most of the goods that you need as a human being can be provided yourself right here and traded freely amongst each other if we stop allowing the rich people to run shit into the fucking ground. Let me tell you something, Elon. The Mars, the planet, right? It's just a little bit out of reach, right? But there's fucking nothing else out there, okay? That's not going to help us as a species until we learn how to love each other and live long enough to travel that far away. We don't deserve to start inhabiting any other place, okay? And honestly, like, there's so many things that are important that would be done on this planet, okay, than your little fucking science project. And you tricked everybody. I know the guy, I admire Elon Musk because he's smart. He's a highly intelligent person, very calculative, and he figured out some way to make himself wealthier. Elon only knows what's good for Elon, just like Mike Bloomberg only knows what's good for Mike Bloomberg, and Jeff Bezos only knows what's good for Jeff Bezos. Jeffrey, okay? Same thing with Bill Gates. Bill, you only know what's good for you and how you think things should be. And these billionaires, they've just complied with a fucking fascist government that took over our White House government, our checks and balances, that put Supreme Court justices that should have never been approved as Supreme Court justices, because the money that they have is being funneled to them from Nazis, from other fascists, from Russia, from China. It's evil, folks, what money can do and corrupt people. Money is not democracy, okay? That's a monetary system that's put in place until human beings figured out how to fucking really get along with one another, okay? We're on the brink of some dumbass fucking kid with a science project from South Africa wants to be a fucking Nazi, while blowing us all up, folks. That's how I feel. That's a concern I feel. Just as if I was protecting my family, who are still processing their papers from some fucking roundup, some bullshit. You know, if you did something really bad, that's one thing. But if you're just here as a refugee trying to have a better life, what the fuck are you? How is that making our economy fucked up? What's making our economy fucked up is everybody is going to work for $20, $25 an hour, even $65,000, $75,000 a year, $100,000 a year after working 20, 25 years of their life away, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and turning around dying of cancer because we're poking the holes in the ground, polluting the planet, or turning around saying, shit, I just worked most of my life while these motherfuckers are flying around in jets going from one place to the next place and building more technological shit. They're building AI projects, Mr. Zuckerberg, that are going to be self-serving their own companies, not the greater humanity. I've not heard one of these billionaires talk about building a robot that can grow food in a greenhouse and desalinate water. I've not heard one of these ideas about your Llama project, Mr. Zuckerberg, with your AI and all your shit, okay? And Bill Gates, all these I haven't heard any single talk about how we can solve the world problem, the people around the world who are killing and suffering and dying. You know, I mean, come on, man. You don't see Trump and Elon having any empathy towards anyone. You just don't see it. You don't see any emotion from any of them. And that's why they keep their children away from them. You know, and kind of these well-groomed kind of fake faux pas families that they have. These are not loving, kind people. These are not artists, science, or intellectuals, folks. And the fossil fuel industry would have it. You think that Joe Biden, the guy who's been, fighting for human rights for 30 years in Congress, is the best candidate. That dude should have stepped down. Boring, nothing new to say. Or the prosecutor, Kamala Harris. Yeah, Kamala, great. Yeah, but nobody wants to listen to something. Has nothing really new to say. Of course we know about human rights, folks. That shouldn't even be an issue. Trump has taken the country back a couple hundred years back to the Nazi fucking era. And it's like, it's so obvious to so many, yet so many apparently were paid to vote or got fooled into thinking they're going to make America great again. You're making rich people richer again and again and again. That's all you're doing. God, have mercy on us. God have mercy on our country. I'm making this video because I just feel like I had to say something. I have to say something because I love my country, And an upside down flag, you know what that means? That means we're in trouble, folks. Please buy some of my artwork. I would like to book a flight to Mar-a-Lago and go play golf with the billionaires as they're all golfing together. You know that, right, folks? They play golf, folks. Go fund me. Buy some art. Look at that beautiful print. Check it out. Cash at me.